Hello? Check, check. Starting stream. How your audience will see it in a moment. The internet can totally see now. Stop using. Hello? Is this working? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? I'm not sure if this works. I've never done this before. Wow, there's quite a delay. Anyways, you guys can hear me. Yes. Holy cow. A lot of people coming in all at once. Anyways, well, I'm making this because I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a live stream, like a live Q&A, something I've tried on the channel a few times before, but hasn't really worked out just because it's too hard to make a video to ask you guys to ask me questions and then eventually try to answer them. It just takes too long. So if you guys want to ask questions, I will do my best to answer them in this video live format. I guess we'll go as long as, well, it's 6:57 now where I live. I'll put a timer on actually, and we'll see how long we go. Stopwatch. There we go. Cool. All right. I'm just going to start answering questions in the chat, guys. So if you guys want to just ask questions, I'm going to just start picking them. If I don't answer it the first time, keep asking them, and I'll try to answer it. Okay, this thing is flying. Hang on a minute. Hang on. How do I slow this down? Okay, Hypervenom 3 or Ace 17s. I assume you're talking about the Phantom 3 and the Pure Control, the 17 plus Pure Control. I mean, I've made videos on both of these shoes on the channel, quite a few of them. There's playtests for both. What I will say about the Pure Control is I think it's a capable shoe. I don't think it's absolutely fantastic in terms of what you can buy at that $300 price point. But it gets the job done. I think it's a little bit of a gimmicky product at the moment. Wouldn't be my top choice for a high-end product like that. But for me personally, I do prefer the Phantom 3. I think it's a better overall shoe from a performance standpoint when it comes to lockdown, the general fit, and the overall comfort. But again, it really depends on what you want. Again, the laceless thing is popular right now, but I don't necessarily think it's the greatest thing when it comes to objective performance. Okay, we'll move on to the next question here. How can I tell if my cleats are official? I mean, the thing with buying shoes online, obviously you're buying in a store. I guess it depends on where you live, but in most stores you're not going to buy a counterfeit product. I think by official you mean the top-end model probably. So if you're buying a top-end shoe, I mean, it's research at the end of the day. I mean, my channel is a pretty good resource to figure out what's high-end, what's low-end, what the differences are. I try to go over that in the videos. That's why they tend to be a little bit longer. But if you're buying from a website where you're buying a brand new Superfly 5 in a colorway that just came out and it's $80 US and they have every single color and every single size and colors that don't exist, you're buying a counterfeit product. Just that simple. So buy from reputable sources. If you're kind of unsure about what stores are the best to buy from, you go to my website, soccerreviewsforyou.com. It's linked down below in the description. I have buy it now links for all kinds of different websites with SR4U coupon codes, and all of those websites that are linked on my site are 100% reputable, 100% legit. You have nothing to worry about. They sell only authentic product, and you don't have to worry about that at all. Okay, I just saw another one. Oh. Guys, I'm working on stopping this. I don't know how to stop this. It's kind of just scrolling past me, so I want to like shout out the name while I ask the question, but the chat is going so quickly that I can't do that. So I'm trying to stop it. But I saw someone asked, did you ever try to go professional? And this is something that I almost wanted to make a video on because I know it's a topic that obviously a lot of people dream about, being a professional soccer player, football player, whatever you want to call it. And in all honesty, it's not something I really ever pursued. I played high-level youth soccer and I had opportunities to play at the college university level, but I just never ended up doing it. I kind of had this going at the time. It was just, I guess, starting to get a little bit bigger, so I wanted to really focus on this and maybe try to make a business out of it. It ended up working out, but I can't say I really ever pursued going professional. Not to say that I would have. Also, I live in Canada, so there's not a whole lot of opportunity for that, in all honesty, especially where I live. If I lived in a major city like Toronto or something like that, maybe it's a little bit better, but where I was at the time, and it wasn't the best situation for me to really pursue that. Something that I think would be cool maybe, but not something that I can say that I seriously ever pursued. Okay, what's the narrowest shoes on the market? This is another common question that I get a lot. With wide, narrow, regular fit soccer shoes, you have to realize that a lot of these brands aren't making a specific shoe for a specific fit, if that makes any sense, or a specific style of foot. You look at a brand like Nike, they have their Mercurial line, which is going to be the most narrow or the tightest fit. They have the Hypervenoms, which are a little bit wider, and then they have the Magistas, which are a little bit wider than that. And the Tiempo line is very similar. So what a lot of brands are doing now is they're making different profiles within their different lines. So every shoe offers a little bit of a different fit and a little bit of a different experience, which I think is a good thing. Nobody's making a shoe specifically tailored towards narrow foot. A narrow foot, they basically want to make a shoe that's going to fit as many people as possible, but again, within the different profile of what that shoe has to offer. So a Mercurial, as tight fitting as it is, it will fit most people, but if you don't like the feel of tight shoes, or if you do happen to have really, really wide feet, maybe it's not going to be the best shoe for you. But in regards to what is the most narrow shoe, I would say the Mercurial line, in terms of the tightest fitting shoe, is probably my pick, be it the Superfly 5 or the Vapor 11. The Vapor 11 does fit a little bit tighter. But again, as long as you get the right size, sizing is everything when it comes to these things, you shouldn't be able to wear most shoes without having a sloppy sensation on your foot. If they're too big, they're going to feel sloppy, especially if you do have a narrower foot. Okay. Do you use maple syrup to clean your boots? No, I don't. Can't even remember the last time I had maple syrup. Not even really a big fan of it. Wow, we are flying here. Stop. How do I stop this? It just keeps going. Guys, I appreciate the interaction. This is pretty cool. I actually kind of like this. Oh. Holy cow, it's just flying. Okay, there's got to be a way for me to slow this down. Let me see. Settings. Okay, I guess I can't adjust that right now. Which AG sole plate do you prefer? Okay, it's slowing down a little bit. I was a big fan of the AGR stud patterns that Nike was doing. Obviously, they're doing the AG Pro thing now, which I think the main reason why they changed is because of Adidas doing the FG AG thing. And really, Adidas basically didn't change their stud patterns from what they were doing before. They kind of just branded the firm ground as FG AG. So the AG Pro is kind of more like that, in that you can use it on artificial grass, and it's pretty much usable on firm natural grass as well, so it does have that dual purpose. But for specific use on artificial grass, I really liked that AGR stud pattern in that you got a good amount of bite, you sat a little bit lower to the ground, and you had a lot of those little rubberized studs underneath your feet, which gave a nice stable sensation. It worked quite well. Not ideal if the turf was really, really wet. That can be a little bit slippery. That's where something like an AG Pro stud pattern or even the FG AG stud pattern from Adidas would work a little bit better in terms of giving you better traction because it's going to dig in more. But on a dry surface, I really like that AGR stud pattern from Nike. Big fan of that. Expectations for the Tiempo Legend 7. Legend 6, my favorite shoe, obviously. I don't really talk about upcoming products on the channel or leaks or stuff like that. It's just not something that I really intend on doing. It's when you have a relationship with a lot of these companies and brands, it's not a good thing to talk about that kind of thing. But I'm excited for it. I mean, the Legend 6, I think, is a very good shoe. I was a big fan of the Legend 5 as well, so I'm curious to see what changes are going to be made in terms of how the shoe actually feels. I hope they don't stray too far away from having a majority leather upper. That's something that's really, really important to me. I really like the aspect of how the Legend 6 fits. It has that modern feel, but you get the good softness of leather. Obviously, leather quality is something that I would be a little bit concerned with as well, as that seems to be going downhill for the most part from a lot of brands. We haven't really seen it from Nike yet, but it's definitely a possibility. I'm hopeful, though. So again, excited to see it. Hopefully it's a low-cut shoe. Maybe they'll offer a mid-cut variation. I don't really know, but we'll see. I'm excited for it. How do you get so many boots? This is something that I've talked about on the channel before. I'm not sure if I can actually link that to you guys. Probably can. Can I add stuff? Let me see. Trying to figure this out. Cards. Add a card. I think I can probably do this. Give me 1 second here, and I will actually... How do you get so many boots? And I talk about this a little bit, right? The thing, just to give you guys... Oh, that started playing. Just to give you guys like a brief little I guess, summary of what I talk about in this video. And I don't know if that pops up for you guys. Yeah, it is. If you click the little eye in the corner of the screen, there'll actually be a link to that video, How Do You Get So Many Soccer Cleats? So with How Do You Get So Many Soccer Cleats, the simple answer to that question is it's something that you establish over time. No brand, like sponsorship is a big word that a lot of people like to use when they're trying to start a YouTube channel, or in the case of what I'm doing, trying to review product. And quite frankly, no brand, no company, no store is going to sponsor you to review equipment. They just don't care that much. The thing with, I guess, getting shoes for free, if you will, is they're not necessarily free. You kind of have to establish yourself. You have to establish something that's going to be attractive as a platform to not only review a product and do it well, because obviously that's important, but you have to have a following. You have to have a platform that is of interest to a brand or a company or whatever it may be for them to want you to have their product on your platform, be it YouTube, be it Instagram, be it whatever it is. So that's the big thing. I think a lot of people just think that they create a YouTube channel and they make 2 videos and automatically they're entitled to get free stuff. And that's quite simply not the case. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of, I guess, startup cost on your end. And even then, there's no guarantees with this kind of thing. If you put yourself out there, you make good content, you may get a following, you may not get a following. It's something that, again, you kind of have to stick with. I'm like 4.5, 5 years into this now. So again, it takes time to establish this kind of thing. But again, I explain more of it in that video, so if you want to go ahead and check it out, that would be ideal. It explains it in more detail. Magista X1 or 2. I'm a fan of the 2 personally, just because I really liked what they did with the upper of the Obra 2, which you get on the Proximo 2, which we're talking about the indoor turf variation if you're not familiar. But I like the 2, mainly because of the upper. I find that shoe to be a little bit more comfortable than the original Magista, but the first one is also very, very good. Best tacos. Taco Bell? I don't know. I like Taco Bell, but I mean, everybody has something different. I don't know why I answered that. What do you do with older boots? They're, for the most part, downstairs in my SR4U boot room. There's videos on that on my channel as well. I try to keep stuff while it's still available, just because a lot of you guys like to see comparisons and stuff like that. So I like to have all of that stuff. For the most part, I try to hang on to as much as I can. It gets a little bit overwhelming in terms of the amount of stuff. I do my best to give stuff away. I do a lot of charity stuff. So that's kind of the gist of that. Not really nothing special, honestly. I keep most of it, if I'm being honest with you guys. Favorite team. I've talked about this before. I'm not really a diehard fan of any team in particular. I've never really been a diehard fan of any team or any sport. I like to watch. I'm happy to watch just about anybody. If I do have a favorite team, because you kind of have to, especially in the position that I'm in, it would be Arsenal. But again, I'm not really a diehard fan of any team in particular. But if I'm picking a team, it would be Arsenal right now. Here we go. Hypervenom Phantom 3 or Vapor 11. So this is a good question because both shoes are really, really good. It depends to a certain extent what you really want in a pair of shoes. I know I always talk about, you guys probably see me reply all the time, it depends on what type of fit and feel that you're looking for, and that's something that is very much a true statement. You have to kind of do a little bit of self-diagnosis and really decide what you want in a soccer shoe. You look at something like a Mercurial Vapor 11, it's super thin, it's super lightweight, it's really the ultimate when it comes to a barefoot feel on the ball, like you're not wearing any shoes at all. It also offers really, really aggressive traction and a super responsive feel. A one-to-one experience with a super thin upper. That's kind of what the Vapor 11 is all about. Whereas if you look at something like a Phantom 3, it's not going to be quite as light. They're still very lightweight on feet. It's not going to be nearly as thin. It's going to have a softer, more sock-like feel to the upper itself, more of a padded sensation when striking the ball, not as aggressive as a stud pattern, which isn't necessarily a negative thing. That's more of a personal preference, and a completely different fit profile where it is going to be a lot wider, and it's not going to have that same tight wrap around your foot. So again, both shoes very good, both very attractive options in terms of what they have on offer, but it depends on what you want. If you're asking my personal preference, it would be the Phantom 3, more specifically the low-cut variation, just because I find it more comfortable. But again, when you're comparing two shoes, it's not always a case of one necessarily being better than the other. That can happen when you're comparing two models, but when you're comparing two very good shoes, it's not a matter of one being better than the other. It's just a matter of what you specifically want from that piece of footwear. Hopefully that explains. Why did you start YouTube? That's a good question. I'm not really sure that I have a huge answer to that. I started YouTube because I wanted to do product reviews. I had a genuine interest in soccer cleats, which obviously this many years later, this many videos later, I think that's pretty clear to see. But what I wanted to do with YouTube is something that nobody really at the time was doing, and that was kind of unboxing videos or doing a video of the shoes themselves. If you actually go on my channel and you click videos, you can sort it from newest to oldest and oldest to newest. So if you go to oldest, you can actually see some of my original videos. I never took them down. I didn't privatize them or anything like that. But there's some older videos. The first ones I didn't even talk, and then the ones where I do talk, they're really, really bad. I know I'm not the most expressive person when I explain soccer shoes, but if you think I'm dull now, go watch those old videos because they're really, really bad, really monotone. But again, that's kind of how I got started. Every channel, I think if you go to the older videos, there's always going to be a level of progression that's pretty easy to see for both the creator as well as the viewers. But again, that's kind of the main reason why I started. Nobody was really doing it at the time, and I wanted to do something different to kind of get some attention, get myself out there, and hopefully develop some kind of a following. Luckily, it worked out. A lot of people are doing it now, but I'd like to think that I'm one of the first people that kind of got that started when it comes to making videos on soccer cleats, whatever they may be. Why don't pros wear glitches? The thing with professional players and the shoes that they wear, it's become a fascination in the social media age because it's so easy to see what the professional players are wearing. And obviously marketing is a big thing now. When a new colorway comes out, it's not just that new colorway, it's that new colorway with a professional player wearing them or holding them, whatever it may be. What you guys have to consider is with any of these big name professional players who are playing in the really big leagues, your Ronaldos, your Messis, your Pogbas, whoever it may be, these people that are advertising with these shoes are being paid to do that. So when it comes to these brands, they're paying these athletes basically endorsement money to represent their brand, to wear their product, be it just the brand or be it a specific shoe in a specific color. That's why they're wearing it. It's not necessarily by choice. It's by who wants to pay the most amount of money. That's why I think it's really funny when we see these boot switch situations, especially with a big name player, where people go absolutely crazy that, oh my gosh, Ozil switched from Vapors to Adidas in the Pure Control and he was wearing the LZ. Why did he do that? He obviously likes Adidas better than Nike. No, not necessarily. His contract came up with Nike and Adidas offered him more money, so he went and signed with Adidas and now he's wearing Adidas shoes. So why aren't pros wearing glitches? Well, when you have a brand like Adidas controlling what pros wear what, they sometimes choose to not put professional players in certain models. So it really is up to Adidas. If Adidas really wanted somebody like Ozil or Pogba to wear an Adidas glitch, they could do that, be it a modified version of the glitch or something that just looks like the shoe. That's something that they could absolutely do, but for whatever reason, they're choosing not to do that. You're seeing something very similar with the Copa 17.1, where they're not putting any professional players in that boot. Again, no particular reason for it, but it's something that they chose to do. Okay, best wide fit boot. Again, this is something that I talked about with the narrow thing. Nobody's really making shoes that are specifically tailored for one foot type. Everybody wants, or every brand wants their shoes to fit as many people as possible, but of course every shoe is going to have a little bit of a different fit. It's going to have its own special quirks to it. So with something like a really wide fitting shoe, I'll say this, ideally something with a leather upper is going to be better suited for wider feet, especially a full leather upper, meaning that there's leather through the midfoot, forefoot, and toe area, just because leather does have the ability to stretch and soften up as you're wearing them. But keep in mind that, again, no shoe really is specifically tailored for wider feet. New Balance has some wide fit boots available. I know Asics has done wide fit in the past. So I guess there are a few brands that are maybe tailoring their shoes or a specific version of their shoe to a wider foot type. But for the most part, most shoes will fit most people. Again, it's just a matter of what type of fit and feel that you're looking for. All right. How can you afford all the boots? Again, check out that video that I put in the cards. That will explain that to you. Whoa, it's just moving like crazy. Somebody keeps asking best shoes for hairy feet. I don't know. It's a good question. Jeez, flying. This looks like somebody donated. So Michael Mate, I assume that's how you say it. You donated $1. I mean, I don't know how you did that or why you did that, but thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I mean, you guys don't have to donate, but I guess that's pretty cool. Um, oh my gosh, the chat is just flying. I can't stop it for whatever reason. I don't know why. Oh, there's actually a timer in the corner. I don't have to do that. Messi or Ronaldo? Here's a question I get all the time. I don't really like answering it that much just because it's such a controversial topic for whatever reason. I don't know why people can't just enjoy what's happening because you have two players that are absolutely incredible, kind of doing their thing. And for me, I watch them both. I'm in awe of both of them, and I just find it very entertaining. I think Ronaldo has definitely taken on the role of a little bit of a villain, if you will, and that a lot of people don't like the way that he plays. He has more of an individual play style. He has a little bit of a reputation for diving or exaggerating when it comes to getting fouled and stuff like that, which is understandable. That's going to happen. A lot of players do that. It's just because he is such a high-profile player that people really make a big deal out of it. But again, the thing, I think for me, the difference between the two players is I watch a guy like Messi, and obviously he has kind of the odds stacked against him with his size. He's obviously very quick. The acceleration on that guy, first three steps, is as quick or quicker than pretty much anybody out there. So that's really impressive, and he makes the game look very easy. It's such a natural, fluid way of moving with and without the ball. He's very, very good, and I think playing on a team like Barcelona with the playing style that team has suited him very, very well throughout his career. With a guy like Ronaldo, obviously it's a lot more individual. Yeah, he can play in a team environment, but most of his goals, or I guess a lot of his goals, are going to be more individual efforts for the most part. Of course, there's going to be team goals as well. He's really, really impressive in the air. That's something that, to me, I've always been in awe of, how that guy can jump up in the air and essentially just hang there and float for so long. That's really impressive to me. And he's one of those guys that, unlike Messi, where it just seems like it comes so natural to him, Ronaldo seems like he's one of those guys that had to work very, very hard to get to where he is. Obviously, he's very, very built. Not to say that Messi isn't strong or isn't fit or anything like that, because obviously he is. But just the look, the appearance, just everything with Ronaldo just seems more, I guess, manufactured, which is not a bad thing. He worked very hard to get to where he is. So if I'm picking a favorite, I really enjoy watching both of them. I don't even want to say a favorite because I feel like people are going to get mad at me. But I guess I've been a Ronaldo fan for longer than I've been a Messi fan, so I guess Ronaldo would be my pick. But again, can't take anything away from Messi. Can't take anything away from both of them. I'm not a hater of anybody really. So for me, Ronaldo over Messi. Because I'm really impressed with what he's able to do from an athletic standpoint. But again, both really, really impressive players. Um, do you like Yeezys? That's a good question, I guess. I'm not crazy. I mean, I think they're cool. Like if I wanted to go pay what $600 to $1,000, sometimes $2,000, depending on the colorway in the resale market. Yeah, I mean, I think they're cool. Like I would wear them, but I'm not really actively pursuing to pay that much for a pair of sneakers. Uh, they're neat, but it's not something that I'm like dying to have. But yeah, I mean, I think they're cool. Um, what's your second favorite cleat after the Legend 6? That's I don't really have a concrete answer to that, honestly. The Legend 6 my favorite. After that, I don't really know what the second favorite is. I'm a big fan of the Over 2. I'm a big fan of the Phantom 3 Low. I'm a big fan of the new Evo Power Vigor 1. I really like the Under Armour Clutch Fit Force 3.0. I think that's an excellent shoe to wear. I'm still a big fan of the Predator Instinct. I really like wearing those. I'm still really happy to wear the Nike Tiempo Legend 5 if I really had to. There's quite a few shoes that I really like to wear or would have no problems wearing. So do I have an absolute second favorite that would be like my go-to if I couldn't wear Legend 6s? No, not necessarily, but it would probably be between those couple that I just named. Do you like Jordans? Uh, yeah, yeah. I have my fair share of retro Jordan models. Some of the newer stuff I think has been pretty interesting. I think what they did with the woven uppers since the Jordan 29. I think those were pretty interesting. I really think the new, is it the 31 or the 32 they're on? I think they're on the 31. I don't know. It might be 32. But whatever the latest one is that kind of looks like a Jordan 1, it's got that inspiration to the styling. I think those are really cool. I haven't picked up a pair yet just because I know it's one of those shoes that you're going to be able to get in an outlet store sooner rather than later. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. But in terms of retro Jordans and stuff like that, yeah, I wear them. If you guys follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is at SR4U_Josh. I generally post what sneakers that I'm wearing on a daily basis in my Instagram story. So if that's something that you're into, if you really like sneakers and stuff like that, maybe check that out. Actually, I bought some sneakers today, so let me show you guys. They're right behind me. I'll just grab them right here. I haven't really been buying sneakers. I have a sneaker channel, or I guess I haven't been uploading on it, but I do have a sneaker channel. So at a point, there was a time when I was buying a lot of sneakers, but I kind of slowed down on that. But today, I kind of splurged. So I bought these. These I'm actually going to do a review on. This is the 2017 Nike Free Run. So pretty interesting shoe. Not a huge difference from the 2016 model. It's something that I know a lot of you guys do have interest in. They're very good running shoes, very, very popular, fairly inexpensive. I think the US retail is like $100, $110. Not cheap, but not super expensive either. They're very comfortable. You can do just about anything in these things. Wear them casually, wear them for running, wear them for training. So expect a review on these relatively soon, or some kind of a video. I also picked up some other stuff. So I got these and I wasn't planning on it. This is the new Paul George signature in, I don't even know what this colorway is. I think it might be called Ivory. I don't know. I saw it online, but I really like how they look. I wasn't a fan of them when I saw them in the pictures, but in person, I thought they looked really, really premium. I like that it has this kind of snakeskin, almost alligator, scaly kind of pattern to it, and then the suede on the swoosh itself, the strap across the front, the gum sole. I just think it's a pretty cool looking shoe. I don't really play a lot of basketball. I play at the gym kind of on my own, a little bit of one-on-one here and there, but not something I really played seriously. And then I actually picked up these guys right here. This is a Zoom Talaria Mid Flyknit Premium. So this is a shoe. It's more of like a sneaker boot style shoe. But when I was in London for the Puma Evo Power event, I actually went to Nike Town London. I posted a couple of pictures of some Nike ID stuff that they had there. But I saw these. They had just came out at that time, but they were a ton of money, and I just wasn't really interested in paying full retail for them. But I just found them at a local outlet store for relatively cheap. It ended up being like basically $100 Canadian for them. The retail is $300 Canadian. I do live in Canada, by the way. So I picked them up. I really like them. Again, not sure how much I'm going to wear them, but I have them now. So those are the 3 sneakers that I just recently picked up. And again, I haven't really been buying too many sneakers as of late. But if you're interested in sneakers, again, my Instagram, at SR4U_Josh. Go ahead and check it out. I could probably link it in the description of this video after everything is done. Why do you seem so American? That's pretty good. I think the stereotype of all Canadians sound a certain way and look a certain way, and not really true. I've always lived on a border city, if I'm completely honest with you guys. So I've always been like 10 minutes away from driving to the US. It's not really, I don't really live in the super Canadian parts of Canada, if you will. So I guess maybe that's why I seem a little bit more American than I do Canadian. I don't know. I don't know how you tell that apart. Obviously, accents. I don't really think I have an accent, but some people seem to comment that I have a Canadian accent. Maybe I do. I don't really know. All right. Here we go. Whoa, chat's flying. First, I just saw it. It flew by, though. First boot you owned. The first shoe that I owned that I remember, they were a pair of Nikes. They were blue with like a white streak running through the middle. It was a low-end shoe. I was small. They probably would have been like a size 11 or 12C. I'm not really sure exactly what they were. I wish I still had them. That'd be a cool thing to have. But they were, I want to say it was like a Mercurial variant, but like before it was Mercurial Vapor. I don't really know for sure. There's not really any way to look that kind of stuff up. Anything that was like a shoe, especially a takedown model pre-internet, it's really hard to find information on it. So I don't know entirely what that shoe was, but that's what it was. If you were wondering, that's at least the best way I can describe it for you. Why don't you customize Nike cleats anymore? No particular reason. I just haven't really done it as of late. I like to customize the shoes when there's like a variation that I think is particularly unique and interesting that's not available at the retail level. So if you guys have ever seen my Superfly 4s with the full safari print across the entire upper, that's something that I like to Nike ID just because I know that's not really going to release on a full retail general release colorway. So that's something that's a little bit different. I like to have that kind of thing. But again, maybe I might do some Nike IDs sooner rather than later. I'm not really sure. It's not something I really plan for the most part. Especially when the shoe first comes out, because I've done custom shoes when the shoe first comes out, and then basically the same colorway ends up releasing down the line. So that's more bad luck than anything, but that's, again, I don't really plan for that kind of thing. Who is your favorite player? I've made a video on this. It was a long time ago. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago now. But I think in that video I said Ibrahimovic, Van Persie, and who would have been the other one that I said? I might have said Ronaldinho. I don't even know. But Ibrahimovic, in terms of active players, is somebody that I really like to watch, both on the field as well as off. I just think that the attitude on that guy is, I mean, it's interesting. It's very entertaining. And again, I'm not really like a huge super fan of anybody, but I like the entertainment aspect of pretty much any sport. So Ibrahimovic, I really enjoy watching him. I'm just impressed. I'm impressed with what he's able to achieve. Again, very athletic for his size. Just a really, really impressive player. Thierry Henry, you're right. That's what I said. Thierry Henry is another one that I didn't say Ronaldinho. I think I said Van Persie, Ibrahimovic, and Thierry Henry. Henry, another one. That's kind of the main reason why I would kind of call myself an Arsenal fan, is that growing up, watching Thierry Henry play for Arsenal, such an impressive player, so smooth, so quick. He just made everything look really easy. I'm not gonna dab. That's not happening, guys. Sorry. I'm really not into that kind of thing. Whoa. Sorry, the chat just, I can't see stuff because it's going so fast. What's your favorite shoe? Nike Tiempo Legend 6. That's fairly common information on my channel. Marshall's cleats. That's another thing. Okay, I get a lot of people asking about that. People post some pictures online of an older colorway of whatever given shoe that it is. Usually it's a high-end Nike product, and they're at Marshall's or some kind of department store for like 20 bucks or 25 bucks, sometimes even cheaper than that. I think a lot of people are a little bit confused about that because they think that every single Marshall's is going to have that exact same product, and you can go to Marshall's at any time and find these things. You can get lucky, basically. With these department stores, they basically buy closeout stuff. So what happens is Nike or Adidas, whatever brand it may be, they have the stuff that they've been sitting on for a long time, generally 9 months or longer, that they just want to get rid of. They're basically going to liquidate it and sell it for very, very cheap to a department store who's going to buy all their stock and put it in their stores like Marshall's. So that's why you see these shoes there for next to nothing, because they probably bought them for next to nothing and then they resell them at a premium. That's how stores work. So if you can find a deal like that, absolutely go for it. Go to your local Marshalls, see what you can get. But it's not necessarily something that you can go to every Marshalls and find Superfly 4s for 20 bucks, because that's just not going to happen. Again, check your local department stores if that's something that you would like to do prior to making a purchase. But again, there's no guarantees on what you're going to find there. And again, me being in Canada, we have Marshalls, but it's not necessarily, that's not the type of product that would end up in a Canadian Marshalls. You have to be kind of in a bigger city in the US to find that kind of stuff, I would think. I've never seen anything like that locally, so keep that in mind, I guess. Favorite shot, example, curve, knuckleball. Honestly, I'm not a big free kick taker for the most part. I've never really been, and that's just because I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm half decent at them, but it's never been something that I wanted to fight for with other guys on my team to take free kicks. If I am taking a free kick, though, I generally tend to feel more comfortable curling or driving the ball. The knuckleball thing, I don't really practice it all that much, just because I don't think it's the best thing to practice. When you talk about a knuckleball, what I kind of don't like about it is that you're kicking the ball and you're practicing for unpredictability, meaning that when you kick the ball, you want to do something that you're not expecting, which when you're talking about a free kick situation, you kind of want precision and you kind of want consistency. I know a lot of people, just to use Ronaldo as example again, he hits the wall a lot. He's very inconsistent with his free kicks. That's what a lot of people like to kind of rag on him for. And that's partially because he is trying to do a knuckleball technique. When it goes right, it's absolutely phenomenal. But the amount of times that it goes right is a fairly low percentage for the amount of free kicks that he ends up taking. So for me, I think when I practice even free kicks, I try to hit the same corner over and over and over again. Because if you can essentially make a perfect shot, be it a driven shot or a curled shot, which is going to be more easy to control and more, I guess, consistent, that is, to me, ideal with a free kick. So that's kind of what I tend to practice when I practice free kicks. What's better, Flyknit or Primeknit? That's a good question, because I actually made a video on that not too long ago. So I'm actually going to add that to the cards as well, because I think that is an interesting topic. I basically, in the video, go over the history of both technologies before they were implemented into soccer and then after. I think that right now, just to quickly summarize what's in that video, I think that Flyknit is much further along than what we have from Primeknit for the most part. But they're both interesting technologies. I just think the complexity of what Nike has done with Flyknit so far is just way further along than any other brand in the knitted upper department. So again, you look at the Superfly 5, you look at the Phantom 3, you look at the Oprah 2, and then compare it to something like the Ace 17.1 Primeknit or even the Pure Control, where just the toe is a simple knitted pattern. I think the comparison is a bit of a stretch. You almost can't compare the two because the complexity levels and I guess intricacy of the pattern itself is so significantly different that again, I just think Flyknit is way further along. Do you have promo codes for Air Jordans on your sneaker reviews page? No, that's not really something. When a new Jordan comes out or any kind of high in demand sneaker, you're not really going to get a discount on them, unfortunately. You pretty much have to pay full retail. Best boots for a beginner? That's a good question. Honestly, there's no skill level attachment to shoes. You'll get judged based on your shoes. You'll judge other people based on their shoes. And some people will kind of say that if somebody's not very good and they have good shoes, that's a little bit uncool. To me, that's something that you really shouldn't be thinking about all that much. When it comes to being a beginner, get whatever shoes that you like. If you don't know what you're looking for, because that's kind of a good starting point, if you really don't know what kind of feel you like, the best thing you can do is go to a store and try on whatever you can, whatever's in your price range. Ideally, if you have no price range, try on absolutely everything and see what feels right to you. Again, getting the proper fit and proper sizing is absolutely important. You want the shoes to feel comfortable on your feet, and then work from there. Sometimes it's going to take a couple of pairs to kind of learn what you actually end up liking as you kind of progress in terms of learning the sport. So in terms of a beginner shoe that I would specifically recommend, no, not really. I just think that you need to get something that you like. And if it does happen to be a high-end shoe, even a $300 model, get them. There's no skill level attached to that. A shoe's not going to make you better or worse, but it is going to make for a more enjoyable experience if you do have a high-end product, in my opinion. It's kind of a luxury rather than a need. But again, if you can afford it, go for it. Go for the high-end shoe. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Worst cleat? That's a good question. I think honestly, whenever people ask me that question, I don't really answer it because I don't like, I guess, criticizing brands in that way. It's just not something that I like to do. But to me, the worst shoe that I've ever worn that comes to mind is the Diadora Cambio, and I made a video on them a while ago. It was just. It was kind of like the Adidas Glitch in terms of the concept, where the outer shell and the inner liner were two separate pieces. But the outer shell was this translucent plastic, almost rubber material. And when you put that in the liner, just the way that shoe fit and felt on your feet was just so horrible that, again, it is basically an unwearable shoe. So that would probably be the worst shoe that I've personally ever seen. I know a lot of people will probably bring up the Kappa Rattler. A lot of you guys like that video a lot, actually. I was surprised at the reception that one had. I don't really count that just because it's kind of a blatant knockoff, a poor knockoff of the Magista Obra, obviously in an indoor variation. But for me, I think that Diadora Cambio, not really impressed with those at all. We're about 38 minutes into this. We'll go for 45 minutes and then we'll call it, guys. How do you purchase and get a hold of such limited shoes? I'm starting to get in the sneaker game and was wondering if you could give some tips on how to cop limited shoes, cleats. The soccer market and the sneaker market, when it comes to getting limited stuff, completely different. Soccer, basically, you kind of just have to be at your computer ready to go when shoes become available. So what I tend to do is I actually do have some connections with some of these companies and brands to get some of this stuff. So again, I'm not necessarily in a position like the average Joe in terms of getting some of this stuff. So that's how I'm able to get it most of the time. But if you're trying to get it for yourself, the best thing to do, honestly, guys, is whenever a limited edition release comes out, I try to kind of work with some of these online retailers to get my fans notified as soon as these shoes become available right away. So if you guys follow my Facebook, the SR4U Facebook fan page, Or if you're signed up for the SR4U mailing list, that's going to be the most consistent thing. Whenever a new release comes out, if it's a limited edition shoe, generally within the first couple of minutes, sometimes the second that it becomes live, I end up sending out an email to give you guys a really, really good chance to get these limited edition stuff. I know I've got a lot of messages when limited stuff comes out, a lot of people thanking me for the link as soon as it was available because they were able to get them. So that's basically how to get limited edition soccer cleats. You kind of just have to be at your computer right away and be ready to check out as soon as they become available. With sneakers though, it's a little bit different because that kind of falls under fashion, and there's so many more people trying to get these things. There's bots, there's all kinds of different programs that they're using that essentially make it impossible if you're just sitting at your computer with your mouse trying to get stuff in your cart. I'm not really the best person to ask for that. I'm not very good at getting limited edition sneakers. So, but for soccer cleats, again, follow the SR4U mailing list. That is a really, really good source to get limited edition soccer cleats at least. And there's a link to that on my website, soccerreviewsforyou.com. Okay, here we go. How is the 99 gram prototype coming along? Are you still working with the company? Will we see an update? And it left. But for those that follow the channel a little bit longer, I have made a couple videos on a prototype shoe. I was working with a specific brand on that particular product. I don't really have any updates for you guys, unfortunately. It's not something that, again, I'm not really allowed to talk about. When I do talk about it, it's something that I've organized with that brand, because obviously during the development of a shoe, it's not something that is supposed to be public information, but they were kind enough to let me talk about it a little bit. So no updates on that. Not sure exactly what's going on, but it's interesting to say the least. I'll try to get in contact with them and see if they'll let me do an update video and see what I can actually talk about. But as of right now, there's nothing that I can really mention in regards to that particular shoe. Oh, I just see somebody else. Soccer stuff, $1 donation. Pretty cool. Thank you. Again, you don't have to do that, but I definitely do appreciate it. Okay, $10 donation from another guy. Here's a pinned. Okay, it looks like this pins. How do I see this? Oh, 1 second. I need to see that. Oh, wait, it's a pin. Okay, it pins right down here. This guy donated $10 to ask this question. So again, thank you very much. You don't have to do that. I'll try to get to all the questions. I'm going to do this more than one time, but I really do appreciate it. Do you think that Nike changing the uppers for both the Hypervenom 2 and Opus 2, that they are rushing things to market or trying to innovate? Has this impacted your opinion of the brand? No, I don't think they're rushing anything. I think it's reactionary, absolutely, but reactionary in a good way. If you have a product as a brand that isn't selling well, which the first variation of the Phantom 2 and Finish weren't doing all that well because people didn't like the upper, and same thing with the original variation of the Opus 2. People really didn't like, I don't think, not so much the feel of the upper, but mainly the look of the shoe, so it's a little bit of a different situation in comparison to the Phantom 2, but I think it's a good thing that they see after a certain amount of colorways coming out that people are just not interested or don't really like what they've produced, that they're willing to make a change kind of mid-model, which, again, I don't view that as a negative thing at all. I'm all for companies making changes throughout the line without releasing a completely new model. But again, I think that both times, in both situations, the version 2 Phantom 2 and the version 2 Opus 2 were better than the original. And people, I think the sales reflected that. People did seem to really like the improvements that they made. So for the most part, nothing bad to say about that at all. I think it's a positive thing. And I think it's cool for us as consumers to see that we do have an impact on what these brands do. Because I think a lot of these people, they think that the brands are so big and they control everything. They release whatever they want. And the consumer has no control. But again, if we don't buy the shoes will change. So that is two examples of that. And again, I think it's cool that Nike reacted so fast, and even within the same model, gave us the changes that we were looking for in both situations. Because we did end up with better version 2 models with the Opus 2 and the Phantom 2. So that's actually a pretty good question, and those are my thoughts on it. We are 1 more minute, guys. So I'm not going to answer any more questions. This should be available to watch later on YouTube. I want to upload it as a video. I'm going to see how that works. But basically, I want to ask you guys how the audio quality is and how the actual camera is. I'm just using the camera and, I guess, mic on my iMac. So let me know down below in the comments of this video, pending that it does actually upload properly, if everything is okay. If it's not okay, I'll try to do my best to upgrade it and make it better. But this is something that I want to do. I guess as much as possible, hopefully on a weekly basis. Obviously, I spend a lot of time answering pretty much all the questions and comments on my videos. But this is kind of a cool way for me to interact live with you guys and answer your questions. So I like this. I enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys thought of this down below in the comments. And if you would like to see more, if you did like it, be sure to leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already, guys. I make videos on soccer shoes every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. So be sure to do that if you haven't done that already. And that's pretty much it, guys. Links in the description to my website, SR4U Laces. If you need some replacement laces for your shoes, that's linked down below in the comments as well. And thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Let me figure out how to stop this, because I don't know. Let me see. All right. So this is just the awkward part at the end of the video where I can't figure out how to stop it. Live? No. No. No, that's not it. Live chat? No. Basic info? Oh, this is bad. I don't know how to stop this. Oh no. This is not good. Go live, change thumbnail. I appreciate you guys watching me struggle right now. It's awesome. Reveal. Live chat. How do I not know how to do this? Settings, no. Change the thumbnail, play ads, stream options, cards. Do I just pause it? No, that didn't do anything. I just paused it. Sorry about that. I click that, and that does nothing. Do I have to do it here? Stop streaming.